Indiana votes tomorrow. GOP frontrunner Donald Trump jumps to a 15-point lead in the Hoosier State. This according to the latest NBC Wall Street Journal Marist poll. Donald Trump now with 49%, Ted Cruz second at 34%, and John Kasich trails at 13%. A win tomorrow certainly will solidify Donald Trump's position as the Senator Ted Cruz has long sought Indiana for a long time, and he thought it would be his. It's a conservative state. Now it turns out it could be his last stand. Rejoining me now, Jenny Beth Martin, along with Christi Kunzig and Adam Goodman. Adam, let me ask you first. Tomorrow, do or die for Ted Cruz?
It could be. But, Charles, there's really something that's out there to explain what's going on. But years ago, there was a French mathematician by the name of René Thom who came up with something called the catastrophe theory. In politics, we call it the herd mentality. What is it? What one factor maybe changed this race, this primary race in Donald Trump's favor? What one thing could have done it that changed all the dynamics? I happen to think maybe that word, it comes down to a word, is fairness. I think in the last couple of weeks, he has really projected that very powerfully against the system, against his opponent, Ted Cruz, and certainly you could say that Sanders has done the same on the left. I think we are seeing the herd mentality kicking in, and Dr. René Thom, whose name has probably never been uttered on this network for years, should now be looked up because he helped explain exactly why I think the Republican flock is starting to rally behind this candidate.
Well, Christi, you are a Donald Trump supporter. You've been a Donald Trump supporter out the gate.
I have been, ever since he announced he was running.
So why did you not need the catastrophe theory? Why did you know right out the gate this is your man, and why do you think he's got so much momentum now?
Listening to everything that he said he wanted to change, those were the issues that I felt like were the most important issues, and he really shaped the debates. And I think that that's what's really important, and that's really what drew me to him. I don't think he needs to change anything. He has the momentum. He just needs to stick with his issues and keep going. He's in it to win it.
You just saw the signs and some of the things that were being hurled around here with Jeff Flock. That kind of stuff, you're a millennial, you would admit that you're not, most millennials right now leaning left.
Right.
That's safe to say.
Yes.
Is that the kind of stuff, though, that would draw a millennial into the political conversation, or does it work? Because I know it doesn't work with older voters.
No, I don't think so. I think the thing that's really drawing the millennials is talking about giving them things for free, giving them free school, because that's what they're dealing with right now on an everyday basis. So that's where they're getting all of their momentum. And then it's kind of a pop culture thing to support Bernie, and I've seen people with Bernie Sanders socks that they wear on it.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, we see the crowds that Bernie gets, and we see the kind of voting turnout he gets. Jenny, Ted Cruz, he's boxed into this corner, so to speak. Listen, I think he is a true conservative, constitutional conservative, but he's had to make deals that to people who are watching, they look unsavory. It looks like he's signed into a deal with the devil, to Adam's point, to make this thing work, and every time he does something that you probably should do, like win delegates, in case there's a contested convention, it's turned upside down, and he's made to look even more like a villain.
Well, the fact of the matter is he's working within the system, and the Republican Party and the way that this convention process works, it's a representative democracy. We go through this process and we have the primary votes. We also at the exact same time are working to get delegates. They're either elected or appointed, or they happen to be elected through conventions, elected through ballots or conventions. This is happening around the country. Ted Cruz, you watch Donald Trump's supporters, and a lot of them are making a lot of noise, like the one that we saw earlier today with Ted Cruz. There's a huge difference in what you're seeing with Donald Trump supporters and Ted Cruz supporters. Since Friday, we've had nearly 500 people from 42 states make 50,000 calls into Indiana. Those are people who are very motivated. They want to make a difference. And Ted Cruz wants to make a difference as well.
That's the guys that we're going to have to finish this segment here, but that's the kind of ground game that's helped Ted Cruz. But unfortunately, I think for him is that maybe he's playing the game too well, because I think Adam is 100% right with respect to the PR aspect of this. He's winning, but every time he wins, it seems like he loses.